Shane Beamer didn't go for that job.
That'd be Frank's son.
Tried to be.
Would you First off, I want to say thank you and tremendous appreciation for the crowd. Our people there on Friday night, they were absolutely awesome and impactful. I want to also appreciate the resiliency of our players in finding a way to get it done and get a W, and also really appreciate the humility of our organization coming in yesterday and getting to work and addressing all the things that we can do better and must do better to continue progressing throughout the season. So, questions, please.
Mario, with first trip out of the state now without going cross country, just what preparation goes into that, and what are you guys doing to make sure the body clock and getting adjust to the time zone? How are you guys trying to prep for that?
Well, it's a later game, so the adjustment would be in the, we got an extra day of rest, which was good for us, playing a Friday game. And then as the week goes on, you push things back an hour, hour and a half, where you end up gaining back or pushing forward 3 hours so that your body feels like you're playing at a normal night game here on the East Coast. But we'll travel out there a day earlier as well. And then, though, again, the trip back doesn't matter, go play your best game and find a way to be 1-0.
You talk about the humility of the organization to address what needed to be addressed. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you? What does that look like?
Reality. Look right at the film, look at each other as coaches, as players, our preparation, assess it all. The fundamentals, the simplicity of blocking and tackling, throwing and catching, decision-making, finishing plays, technique and fundamentals. Football is really simple, but sometimes we complicate it because of, we sometimes see things we're not supposed to see. We lose our discipline, we lose our focus. The effort was really, really good, but the details were lacking. And with an entire organization and program, we got to do a better job making sure that we tighten those things up to perform better, to perform at a higher level. And also, I want to say this, you got to give credit to Virginia Tech. That's a good football program with good players. I think it's always important it's the right way, the respectful way to treat football, to always give credit to the opponent.
When it comes to focusing on those things on the blocking and tackling, what are the details that go into that? Is it just different or extra drills, more the film room? What's the exact thing that goes into when you say more work? I guess?
Well, I think going back to the reality of it, we've been doing that at a high level for a few weeks, and there were some high level moments and some high level performances on Friday night as well. And some of the lapses are sometimes focus, sometimes concentration, sometimes discipline, sometimes being overly eager to make a play as opposed to doing your job. When you do your job and you do it well, the plays come to you. And we take that all as a whole. We don't point fingers. You always said it a million times ad nauseum. You got to coach it better, got to play it better, got to practice it better. So the intensity, the detail of preparation has to just be really turned up and focused, and making sure that the slips, the missed tackles, the missed blocks, the missed assignments can be made right, and we get better as a program.
How important is a win like that, having your backs against the wall, down look in the fourth quarter, just for the program, just knowing, hey, for a situation like this?
I think every program needs it if you want to attain the things you want to throughout the course of the year. Football and winning is hard, I think people lose sight, and I guess maybe what's the best way to put this? Football is a 4-quarter game, and overtime if necessary, and people get distracted when it's not domination from play one. Well, you know what? Domination may come in the form of a 50-0 game. It may come in the form of a last-second play on any given Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But it is a full 4-quarter game, and I think that understanding that winning is hard because people have good players, and keeping intensity and focus really high is always a challenge as the season progresses, but it's also what separates the really good teams from the ones that might be kind of good but can fall off.
You had to dip into your depth quite a bit on Friday night, especially on defense. How pleased are you with some of the guys that had to step up into bigger roles? And how big is that for navigating a season?
I think we had to dig deep into our depth and played a lot of guys. And I don't think that circumstance is unique to us. I think the entire country is going through at some point or other. We just got hit with a rash of issues at that one particular position. And I think preparation, I think camp, the things that we had been working on for a while, focus on the developing every part of the roster showed up. Particularly Malik Bryant, who was player of the game for us, made some big plays, not only on the special teams play, but also on defense. And I mean, you have to put the emphasis of development on coaches and on players equally, but you have to force that every single day. Like, we're a real pain. I'm a real pain about making sure we're developing guys. You could get lost and, man, this guy's playing so good, we're doing so well, and all of a sudden that guy's gone. Well, what about the guy coming in after that? There better not be a drop-off, or it better be minimal for us to sustain success. So it's a lot of focus on that. I mean, there's more to come. I think there's some other players at wide receiver. There's some other players at, I would say, at the offensive line position, another guy at the tight end position. There's some other guys that are about to pop now as well that have been developing, performing well in practice, getting reps with the ones that I think their time is, you're going to see their time here. Could be this week, but in the following weeks, you're going to see a lot more guys playing.
The life hero of making that crucial stop on that interception, how big of an impact do you think that had on the game, the momentum of everything?
It's probably the play of the game, because not only does it get the guy on the ground, but also 4 plays later, it's the fake field goal that was tackled by Malik Bryant. So instead of that being, us going in, scoring 7, going 7 the other way, 0, and we get the ball back and actually go down and score. So, yeah, that effort, that's something to be kept for forever. That's something to be shown to your teams forever. I'm sure people across the country are using that example to show their team. When we find an example like that, we always show it to our team. You want to show them good examples, no matter who does it. Football is, right? I mean, the class on the grass, it's the best classroom in the world, in my opinion. And when your own player does something like that, man, it is awesome, And there were a couple other moments like that as well.
Do you know what mile per hour he hit on that chase down?
He hit, I think it was 21 something. I know he wants his speed grade bumped up on the video game. I know that was a big thing. They should, but he hit. We were having some guys hit some really high speeds, some high top speeds.
With Elijah, just overall, just to see him finally healthy, being able to produce, play like that, stuff in the first quarter, and just all season, for him to finally being able to have the chance and taking advantage of it, just how good is that from your perspective?
It's incredible. It's awesome for him. It's awesome for the team. That guy is, man, we're very fortunate to have a lot of awesome guys on the team. He's one of those guys that, man, you want your own son to be like that guy. That guy's the ultimate team player. He's been through a lot. He's seen ups and downs, and now he's hitting his stride, and he's seeing things go this way. Couldn't be happier for the guy, and that guy's legitimately just really, really hungry for team success. So super happy for him.
Mario, that last play where the ref calls it a catch and then they reverse it, can you clear that up for us? Does the ref have to call it a catch in order to review it, or how does that work in that moment?
I think, instead of getting myself in trouble, I'll let the refs clear that up for you, I know there's a hotline, but I'll pass on the number as soon as I get it. But there was some, you've heard the explanations about, our guy out, touching the ball while he's out, no one having control. We've heard a couple different ways, but every single explanation leads to, it being an incomplete pass.
You faced some Justin Wilcox teams at your other stop.
Oh, yeah.
What are some of the common traits that his teams always have out at Cal?
Yeah, they were always probably the toughest, most physical teams we always faced out on the West Coast. Every game came down to the end. I mean, there was one game that came down to, I believe Cal had 8 shots inside the 10-yard line to try to tie or win the game. Not to mention some other ones that came down to the last drive or last couple of drives. And I think it's reflected on this year's team as well. They lead the country in interceptions, turnover margin. They're like top 3 in the country, tops in the ACC. So many defensive categories are still in that realm, being the best in the conference and top 10 in the country. But probably the difference this year is that their offense is performing at a high level. We're very familiar with the quarterback. There's obviously a backstory there. Having the Mendoza family is played with the dad, high school teammates and whatnot. Exceptional player, exceptional family, and he's complemented by some really good skill players, and a running back that was once committed to us at Oregon when I was out there as well, who was I think it was first team all Pac-12, preseason all ACC. They're explosive, they're fast. The timing of their passing game, I think, is elite. Hit a lot of back shoulder balls out quick. Screen game is great. The add-ons in their run game are impressive. They find a way to find leverage, angles, and numbers in the run game. They extend plays. Quarterback extends plays, does a great job. Their linebackers are absolutely just really, really good players. Physical, tough, fast. Cam's played against them as well. These guys, they are, Coach Wilcox is an excellent football coach, and I think this team reflects him very well.
Ruben Bain, set to make his return, like you mentioned earlier today. Just how big an impact is that going to be on that defensive line?
Well, let's go find out, right? We know what kind of player he is. Heck, it's been since game one we haven't had Ruben, Jalen Rivers, my man Rodriguez, Ryan, and Damari. Those are 4 guys. 2 of them went out for the coin toss. Those are important players. They mean a lot to the team, both because of what they do on the field and what they bring to the locker room as well. So we expect he looked great. He looked great in warm-ups last week. He was kind of right there we could probably go this past week, but we medically chose the right route, the correct route, because it just guarantees him better health going forward. So we're excited, and I know he's excited.
Obviously, welcome news that Ruben's expected back, that Jalen could be back. A couple of guys who I think went out on Friday, I don't know if they came back or not, Elijah Alston, Jaden Harris, Simeon Barrow. Do you know what their status is going forward?
Yeah, I feel good about Simeon, and I feel good about Jaden. I think Elijah is more day-to-day, but optimistic about him. But the other 2 I feel really good about.
When facing a team coming off a bye week, what type of challenge does that pose for you? Do you expect wrinkles or?
Yeah, you don't find out till
the
ball snaps. You don't find out till the middle of the second quarter, halftime. There's, you take a deep dive. You always scout every team in the summertime, and you have a preliminary game plan. And when the season starts, you got a couple weeks of film on them, so they usually mirror each other. But there's enough carryover where they're like, okay, what we planned on, what we worked on in the summer, we're going to be able to implement. And then when a team has a bye week, when they've studied all of your new wrinkles, it's an advantage. Their team is a little bit better rested, but that's football. We're going to have our bye week coming up. We have an extra day as well. So, but again, I think it's more about the fact that we have to be more consistent in the level of our performance, and I think the focus and concentration has to be 100% on that.
With Malik Bryant, you kind of spoke about him a little bit earlier. Just talk about his progression and him taking every opportunity and kind of making a play every time he's on the field or when he gets a chance.
Well, he got an opportunity on Friday, and he did a really, really good job, and he's going to be pressed and pushed to do more. There's a lot of ability there. He is a really good human being. He's a really good athlete, great teammate, and it's our job to push him and get the most out of him. There's more in the tank there. Really proud of him. Comes from an awesome family, and he's always wanted to be a Hurricane. So it's important to him. It's important to us, and he's going to have more opportunities this coming Saturday.
Corey, you've talked in the past about how important Andy Borregales is. He hits that field goal at the end of the first half. Obviously, ends up being very important. But I think the last 3 Virginia Tech drives were all starting on touchbacks. Just how has he grown, and how does he live up to these possible big moments?
Well, it's a lot of confidence in him. I thought we had 6 seconds on the clock, and they ticked off another second. I don't know how that happened, but 6 seconds, you probably got a chance to get something out to the sideline and get a little bit closer. But there's confidence in him. It was 55, 56, and it probably hit almost halfway up the net. So that thing had a lot of room to go. And then on kickoffs, our kickoff cover guys get upset because they want to cover, they want to tackle. Those guys are getting better, but he almost has a personality now because he's gotten bigger. You notice he's and not in a good way. He's he's got some juice to him. He's got some muscle. He's a little bowed up, but his mentality's like a linebacker. He's very into it, very intense, very just much a defensive mentality, attack mode all the time. He wants it. I mean, he wants all the opportunities he can get to help the team. And, thankfully we haven't had him try to make a tackle yet, but he's a very good tackler.
And speaking with special teams, obviously you don't want to punt, but Dylan Joyce has done very well.
Yes.
Very limited action. I think I saw a stat that I think coming into Friday's game, he punted the least of any starting punter in the country or something like that. How do you keep a punter engaged in a game when they're not punting very often? And does he get antsy not punting?
I'm not concerned about that at all. I mean, the less we can punt, the better, as long as it's for the right reasons, that we're moving the ball and scoring, He's done his performance on Friday was excellent, particularly the one over on the right hash. The hang time on that, depth of that. I mean, when you force fair catches and you're getting the ball, I think it was 45, 46 yards down the field. That's awesome. The one over to the left, we had some coverage issues, but that's on us. We got to coach that better.
I ask you about him every week almost now, but Markel Bell, it was kind of a different level of challenge this week. How do you feel like you did?
I didn't like the holding call. I didn't think it was, but I'm not being critical of the officials, so, to prevent a fine, I want to clear that up. I'm just being honest. I think it was very theatrical. It's a twisted position. Defensive end's trying to make a play. It's slippery. Things happen. Markel he gets better and better, and he's a guy that's resilient. A lot like we talk about Cam. If Markel has a play that's not great, he bounces back quick. He doesn't live in his head and keeps thinking, no, he just goes. And so he keeps getting better and better. He now has, 4 games of experience under his belt at this level. He's done it on the road. He's done it at home against really good players. I mean, their pass rush was really high level. I mean, those guys, one of them leads the country in sacks, and they were top 10. And in the run game, he's getting better and better. So really proud of him, man, and he's going to be a great player. Good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Good questions for offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson.
Coach, I'll start on the negative, I guess. Just the interceptions. Can you take us through what maybe happened or broke down on those plays?
Yeah, I mean, the first one, he was trying to back shoulder strap. The guy was, the guy was matching him, and he was trying to back shoulder him. He, obviously it was a wheel route, so he could have waited, could have back shouldered him. He just left it a little bit inside, and so just to err, I could probably have done a much better job on second down, to be honest with you, and kept him out of that situation. And so a lot of times interceptions, you look back at the plays that you ran before that, and you're like, yeah, I probably could have saved that situation. And that's definitely a play where, I could have called a much better play on second down and probably kept out of that situation. So.
Cam responded to seeing how Cam responded to those turnovers and just bounced back and kept going.
Yeah.
What that mean to you?
It makes you call a game clear mind. I mean, he isn't fazed by much. He'll make a mistake, and we come over, and now we have iPads on the sideline so we can see exactly what happened. And so we just talk through it and basically move on to the next drive. There's nothing you can do about it then. And so the fact is, you got to learn from it after the game as much as in the moment. But those interceptions and those turnovers are hard to climb out of. And you typically don't win those games with 3 of them that are like, the first one gave them 7, and then the other 2 took points off our side. So you could legitimately say that it was anywhere from 13 to 21 point swings with those 3. And so that, the play before the interception was a touchdown, right? He threw a touchdown, and we had to go backwards because of a penalty. So those 3 or 4 plays in the game were critical, but to his credit and to our whole offensive unit's credit, is nobody panicked. I mean, it was just play the next play, and we just kept attacking and ended up finding a way.
Kind of in a similar vein, you talked about like going over the interceptions on the sideline afterwards. How much like during the week do you guys like dig into those poor plays? I feel like some guys like to watch film of them doing well to see what they're doing well. Some like to watch film of what they're doing poorly to not do that again. I know Cam called all these things correctables and stuff on Friday. I guess how much do you guys dig into those poor plays?
When we watch the game film, we do. I mean, obviously, you know, I don't have to tell Cam that was a bad play. Cam knows that's a bad play, and you know, but I also don't expect him to be perfect, you know, and so I know mistakes are going to be made. It's a tough job, and so all I care about honestly is how you respond to the mistake. I don't care about the mistake. People are going to make mistakes. I get it. How you respond to mistakes mean way more than the mistake itself. And so as long as we'll stay focused on the next play with a clear mind and go out there and keep attacking, then we'll overcome mistakes. You know, obviously I want to eliminate all of them. Is that reality? Probably not, but we both need to do a better job of trying to, obviously. But ultimately, we got to keep fighting because it's a long game, and if you panic, you got no chance. If you don't panic, the game will come back to you if you keep chopping wood.
Spencer, their defensive back, comes back to Miami and plays the game of his life.
Yeah.
Are you guys, when you game plan, are you game planning and you guys know that he's there and it's a possibility that he may play hard, or you just game plan business?
I game plan their scheme. Honestly, I look at the scheme that the coach runs in every situation. Do players matter? Yeah. I mean, we have to take care of certain players. 52 mattered, pretty good player, right? So, but ultimately, when you get to a situation where a kid transfers out, you're going to it wasn't just him. We got their best effort with all 11 guys. And we knew that going into the game. They were in a situation in their season where they were 2-2, but their record didn't reflect how good they were. I mean, they got beat by 2 pretty good teams. I mean, Rutgers is pretty good. Vanderbilt's playing well. So we knew we had a battle ahead of us. And so we didn't know how that was going to unfold, but we knew that their backs were against the wall, and it was the first conference game. And look, we were going to get your best shot. We get it. And so it wasn't just him, really. I mean, their whole defense play, I'll give them a lot of credit. I mean, their whole defense played with a lot of effort, and they strained the whole game, and it took everything we had to win the game. And I just appreciate our guys matching and fighting.
Scrambling ability was huge in that game. Was that something you thought that could maybe be there going into the game, or does it just gain flow?
Look, as the season goes and as competition evens, right, there's going to be plays in the game where everybody's covered. And we're not going to scheme up the perfect play every situation. And so ultimately, a lot of those happen on third down. And third down is the last down. And I've said that over and over. So if everybody's covered, then go get the first down. Go make a play. And so it happened over and over in that game where, they were covered and he scrambled and he scored one time and then he got some first downs. And so that keeps you at least in the drive. And so, his feet matter, and they're going to matter more as games get even.
That play where he found Riley Williams after 83 tackles, what was going on through your mind during the play and kind of what you say to him after?
Nothing during the play, really. I'm just watching the play and thinking about what I'm going to call next, based on how the play is unfolding. I have a pretty good idea in my mind, like if we don't get any yards, I'm going to call this. If we get yards, I'm going to call this, right? And so, it was obvious to everybody that I didn't think we were going to get yards on that play. But he ended up getting out of it and basketball passing or whatever to Riley, and Riley made a heck of a play. So I mean, look, that's not exactly how you draw it up. I think everybody will agree with that. But obviously I'll take it, right?
You know Riley had that stiff arm in his arsenal.
The fake stiff arm or the real one? He did both on that play. Yeah, I mean, Riley's got an amazing skill set, and so it was good to see him make that play.
Can you attribute that playmaking ability from Cam Ward to any, like, is it going back to multi-sport athlete?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't really have that answer. We have conversations about it. I mean, he did play shortstop. He did play point guard in basketball. I don't know if that matters. I do think that how you play in the moment matters, meaning that, it's such a low pulse rate, right? So when you play like that, the game slows down around you, where things like that happen when you have that kind of ability. Not everybody can do that, obviously, but I do think it has something to say with how calm he is in the pocket. And so he's just letting things unfold, and he is a hard guy to get down, and so he kind of slip around, and so, but his periph is good. He does see people kind of flash in the corner of his eye and get him the ball, and a play's never dead, but again, the first drive of the game where we fumbled that ball, so I mean, there's a yin and yang to that too, and I think that's easily to see. But to me, I can't take the good and not take the bad. Like, I can't love people in slices, so I either got to accept the whole player or I accept none of the player. And so now it's my job to temper things. I get that, but ultimately we got to play football too.
What's it been like for you watching Elijah Arroyo this season? Obviously, Friday is the two big catches and then the tackle on the interception. And just the way he's come back with the injuries from the last few years to finally being able to showcase himself. What has that been like?
I've seen it ever since he's been healthy, to be honest. I knew he had this ability. Everybody around here knows that. I think other people are just seeing what we've known all along. And now the play that he ran the guy down, I mean, that's just effort. You know what I mean? Obviously, you got to have the ability to track him down. But that was one of the most amazing plays I've seen in my career. And the fact, because if he don't run that guy down, then that's a touchdown, because he's going to cut it up. Nobody's there. And they didn't score on that drive. So that single-handedly kept us in the game, which is awesome. He should be commended for that, and he has been, obviously. But, I think that our effort throughout the course of the game, that clip obviously showed, outstanding effort. But as the game went on, we needed that kind of effort because of the situation we were in, right? We needed to make plays. We needed to dig ourselves out, which hopefully we don't have to do that a lot. But that's just one of those games where we didn't play very well at times, and then we had to dig ourselves out with a clear mind. And it showed a lot of grit of our team, and especially our offense, to be able to keep chopping wood, which that's one thing that I'm very proud of with those guys.
Defensively, just kind of what have you seen from Cal, early on watching tape on that?
I was obviously when I was watching it just before I came in here, and I mean the same thing that I really, you sit here and you play Virginia Tech, and I thought Virginia Tech was really good on defense going into the game, and I thought after the game, I thought they were probably better than I even thought. They played hard. I'll give a lot of credit to those guys, and I think Cal is the same. Like, statistically, they're one of the top defenses in the nation in basically every category, turnovers to yards per play to they give up, 12.8 points a game. And so, it's the same kind of game, to be honest with you. And that's not going to change here on out. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they're a good defense, and we know what we have in front of us, and we got to prepare, and we have to do a better job in certain areas to win this game. We can't make those mistakes versus them out there and win this game.
Dan, you're throwing the ball as well as anybody in the country, but what about the running game? Has it been a little muddy to you, and what needs to happen for it to get more consistent and better?
It has been. I mean, we're missing some things too, to be honest with you. I mean, we have some things there that aren't getting hit, and so we're gonna stay the course, but it is a point of emphasis. Obviously, we want to get the run game going. I want to get the run game going. I know that eventually we're going to need it, and we're more than capable up front. I think those guys up front are doing a heck of a job, to be quite honest with you. I think, we just got to clear our mind a little bit and just hit it, really.
Are the backs not hitting the holes?
No, they're hitting it. I mean, it's like in run game is no different than what we just talked about with Cam. I mean, he's not going to hit every pass because things are blurry, There are certain times in the run game where it's easy for me to sit and watch video of back view and say, okay, this is where the ball should hit. Well, that's a completely different than when the guy has the ball, right? And so we just need to stick with it. I mean, we have certain things in the run game, and it's my job to stick with it and make sure we get more out of it.
I remember Mario said, I think back in fall camp, that you guys were going to use Francis Noah as a weapon, I think was the word he used.
Yeah.
He showed that on that one play where he sent a guy kind of flying a little bit on that Chris Johnson run. How much do you just look at him and say, okay, we're going to scheme this up to go to his side and use him as a weapon and take advantage of his abilities?
Man, I think he's good in space. He's good at most things that we ask him to do, but he's really good in space. And so we do try to figure out ways to get him in space at times, but it's not always going to go that way, to be honest with you, because that would be a tendency that would be very dumb on our part. So it just so happens at times that the ball's on that hash where he gets it. If it was on the other hash, he wouldn't get it. So, it was just one of those plays that kind of played out perfectly for him. But he is really good in space. It's fun to watch him go block in space. But I can't just tie it up and go that way all the time, right? We have other guys that are good in space too, but he's just really exceptional at it.
As a follow-up to what we were talking about, Damian came in here he gained 1,300 yards last year. He's a proven 6-yard-a-carry guy. Hasn't really gotten on track yet this season. What has to happen to get him going?
I just got to stick with it. I mean, we just got to stick with it and keep going. I mean, there's ebb and flows of offensive football, and I said last week, and I'll say it again, is like, we have the ability to do both. And when numbers and space dictate one, and there was some run game that we had that we pulled him through, to be honest with you, and so those things are going to happen at times the way football is played today. And so to me, there's a patience you have to have with run game, and we will. I mean, we were in that game where I was trying to put some points on the board, and if you watch the flow of the game, we never really gave up on the run game because we always hit one. About every 3 or 4 plays we would hit one, and there was a couple of them that could have hit big. And so, but there is a patience you have to have with it, and we will. There's going to be times in the year where we're going to have to heavily lean on it, and that will happen, and we are more than capable of doing it when that time comes.
Anything else? Awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go straight into questions for defensive coordinator Lance Guidry.
The Lance thing is obviously the first thing that cropped up. It seemed like on Friday is the missed tackling. I think PFF counted 21 after only 22 in the first 4 games combined. Just what did you see? What was going on with all those missed tackles?
Running back had a lot to do with it. Really good player, quarterback, athletic, had some good wide receivers. A very talented group. Probably the most talented we've played. They just hadn't put it together. But when I looked at the film going into the game, the quarterback scared me a little bit with his athleticism, him being able to break away from free rushes that was coming at him was scary. I told the guys, I said, look, if you come free, don't mean you're going to get him. You got to go to his upfield shoulder. And so that was scary. And the running back, we knew arm tackles wouldn't tackle him. He would run through and make the first guy miss. So we didn't play great by any means, but they had a lot to do with that as well.
How do you go about fixing issues like that? Like just during the week, obviously you can work on things all through camp and you get time, but when you have a week to kind of work on things, how do you go about that?
You go back to practice. You go back to having good posture and knowing what type of tackles you have to make according to where the back's at. If he's in the backfield, can I take a shot? If he's in open space, do I just get him down? And so just some of those things. It's all teaching moments, which is good. Really, I was probably, in the Florida game more worried about missed tackles than this last one, but they did have something to do with it. So they got some good players.
To the eye, it looked like the Bigs were having a little bit of trouble with the heat all night. Did you see it that way?
I don't know if it was the heat. They had a good game plan. I thought they ran us sideways at first, and then they started coming inside later on. But they had a good plan to go outside and make us run, then come back inside. And it took a toll on us. We did play a lot of people inside. And at the end of the game, we had a bunch of backups in the game to win the game. We lost the safety. Harris was out, so we had to play Zaquan and Markeith. And then up front, it was just a different guy. It seemed like all the time tweak a hamstring or, whatever. So played a lot of guys. It was good to get the win. It's always good to win. We didn't play as great as we needed to, but I'm not going to apologize for a win. We got the thing done. And, last year we played against Georgia Tech, and I thought we played really, really good on defense until the last drive, and we lost. So I'll take this win over that one any day.
What was going on in your mind? I think it was like a 6-7 minute review during that last play, and then all that time.
Yeah, I remember my first year as a defense coordinator in college. I was at McNeese State, and I think LSU had lost a game. At the end of the game, they was in prevent, and I always had in my mind, if they can reach the end zone, never give them time to throw. So that's in my mind, like all-out blitz, don't give them time. So if I had to go back on it, I'd still do the same thing I did the other night, because the series before, when they scored on a 3rd and 10, I brought the house, and he made everybody miss and extended the play and ended up throwing to the end zone one-on-one. So I'm going in my mind with the last play. I said, it can't be a one-on-one situation, because I didn't feel like we could get pressure on him and keep him in the pocket because we hadn't done it all night. I'm like, nah, we're going to play jump ball. So we brought Horton in, Isaiah in. And then that's what it is. A lot of people will do the same thing I did, but kind of in my mind, I always want to bring more numbers than they got. But I just didn't feel like I felt good about getting him if we came, because he'd escaped from us all night long. So it is what it is. We made the play to win the game. It happened.
On the touchdown run, was there, besides obviously the missed tackle, was there any other breakdowns? Because it seemed
Fortek was supposed to spike inside, and he didn't. He got caught up on the tackle, which made a crease. Really, Kiko was supposed to scrape, but Kiko, having a nose for the ball, kind of fell back into the play and just didn't run his feet, and he get his hat across, and the guy broke a tackle, and he ran through it, and there was really nobody there because we were in zero. It was a 4th and short, 3rd and short, whatever.
Just on that Hail Mary at the end, how often does Isaiah Horton practice at that, and what did you tell him?
Well, you can't ever practice that live, because you're not going to get offensive receivers to go and jump with you, because you're going to get injuries, So we've gone over it a bunch of times with him about where we're going to put him in a 3-by-1 set, and after that, it's just him relying on his ball skills. You do have something on tape now for the other DBs, because we had 2 DBs that should have shielded their guys, which probably would have made it cleaner for Horton to get the jump that he needed to. But there were so many bodies around each other, it was hard to get a jump. So the good Lord was with us, is all I can say.
He's there because he has the best vertical on the team.
He's the biggest guy. We don't have no big DBs, So we've got him and Riley, or the 2 guys that we would use as jumpers. And him playing wide receiver, he probably goes up for a lot more balls than Riley, but I also think Riley can do it as well. But, our tallest DB might be 6'1", so we need to get the biggest guy out there that could jump up and get the ball. So we got it done. I was really more upset with the second to last play, because we were supposed to be spying on the quarterback, and we rushed in there and got him. He got down there with a run, so we have to correct that. There's a lot of teachable moments, but the guys played hard. I never saw on the sideline panic. I never saw it in their eyes. I think they thought they could win all the way to the end. We have confidence in our offense that they can go down the field as quick as they need to. And if you ask them the same thing, they rely on us when a big play needs to be made. So it was definitely we played off of each other. In the first half, I don't think we played complementary football. Every time our offense did something bad, we didn't respond. We didn't handle sudden change real well. In the second half, that was, I think, the biggest tell, is that we kind of played off of each other. They had a pick. They ran all the way down there. We stopped them in 3 downs and went for a fake field goal. We stopped them, so we played better complementary football. I think they scored 3 points in the third, and they scored a touchdown in the fourth. So we didn't get a third quarter shutout, but we held them to 3, and then we won the fourth quarter, and that's why we won the game. So second half, we played a lot better. Still not perfect, but we played with a lot more complementary football with each other.
How do you feel like the nickels are performing lately? It seems like that's an area where maybe teams are attacking recently.
Yeah, Porter has to take a lot of reps in there, and Jadis is trying to get some as well. So we'll keep working it. It's they're doing different things. A lot of times it wasn't their fault. It was other guys' fault. There's a lot of times the corner should be passed. They should be passing off wide receivers and things like that. So they're getting used to the position. We're 4 games in. We got to get better, and we're work in progress. I keep saying that. I mean, people, we're 5-0, which is awesome, but we're still not playing our best football, I think, as a complete team, and hopefully we'll get there.
Malik Bryant, kind of talk about his progression and the strides he's made this season so far.
He can rush the passer. He's athletic. He did a good job the other night, and seemed like every time he gets more and more play opportunity, he's playing better. So we needed him because we were down some defensive linemen. We'll get Bain back this week, which is awesome. We've been playing without him. So, Malik's playing really well. So he'll be, of course, playing a lot more this week, and also Bain.
What went into the decision to move him from linebacker to the edge?
He's more natural on the edge. He doesn't feel it as well inside. When you're an edge player, you either chase the ball or it's coming at you, whereas when you're inside, that's the most instinctive position there is on the football field. It's like a running back. And you can't just put a fast guy to play running back. He's got to be able to feel it. He's got to see it. It's just a knack at inside backer. Whereas Malik, he don't think when he's outside as much. It's all more natural to him coming off the edge. So it's just kind of a fit for him. Not everybody has that skill set, but he does outside.
And then also I feel like Popo's gotten some more reps maybe the last week or two. How have you seen him develop, through the early part of this year, coming into this year?
Yeah, we'll keep bringing him along. We picking spots to play him in there. He's getting better each week. If we get out in front, we can play him a lot more. It's kind of tough in certain spots, because we're practice every day with them, and we know who can make the checks, who can't, and just all those different things. Popo's getting better and better, and he's going to get more and more playing time as he goes.
The fake field goal, which again goes back to Malik being able to sniff that out, and then what was going through your mind as you watched your guys do that, and then just how much of a momentum shifter do you think that was?
Well, I was shocked that they faked it, to tell you the truth. I guess they wanted the touchdown right there, especially after the big turnover. I thought we responded well, forced them to a field goal, and then we got great push with AC inside. He knocked the guard back, which allowed Malik to make the tackle. And big-time play. Kiko was wrapping around. He had saw the fake. He was coming around for the tight end, but all they needed was 3 yards for a first down. So it might not be a touchdown, but it could have been a first down, which would have extended the drive, of course.
Adding to that, Bang back to the mix, I can play multiple positions on that D-line. How good is that for you?
Oh, it's great. Going in, you got a guy coming back that's a freshman All-American like that, and then he's gone in the first series of the Florida game. So, of course, we were dependent on him, but we've had a bunch of depth at that position, and it seemed like he's coming back at the right time, and others might be a little nicked up, so it's good to have him back.
Running back Ott, what type of challenge does he pose?
He's good. He has good hands. He catches the ball really well. He's a slasher. A little different than the guy last week. The guy last week was hard to see him. He was low to the ground. He was really, really strong. This guy's more of a slasher, out the backfield, catch the ball. So it'll be another tall task, Their quarterback is more of a pocket guy. He's not a runner. So whenever you got a quarterback that's a dual threat and you have a running back like they had last week, it's always tough. It's tough on you. And then I really thought their tight end was good last week as well. They have multiple tight ends at Cal. They have one, they call him Baby Grunk. He's more of a big guy, and then they got one that's kind of a hybrid wide receiver tight end who's going to prevent a challenge. He's going to cause a challenge for us, so we'll have to cover him probably with DBs and not linebackers because he's going to cause some problems for us.
Anything else for Coach Guidry?
We won the game, guys. There you go.